Those words still echo in our memories, but the actors who spoke them have walked a long, difficult road since 1994. Time waits for no one, and the stars of this Oscar-winning masterpiece are living proof. Some are unrecognizable, while others carry the weight of the years in their eyes. Join us as we uncover the secrets and stories behind their stunning transformations. Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump. Born on July 9, 1956, the Concord, California native was already an established star when he took on the lead role in Robert Zemeckis' epic drama. At the age of 37, Hanks's portrayal of the simple-minded yet kind-hearted Alabama man became a global phenomenon, earning him his second consecutive Academy Award for Best Actor. The character became a cultural touchstone, generating catchphrases that are still quoted decades later, and offering a heartwarming, albeit fictional, journey through the pivotal events of 20th-century American history. While Forrest was defined by his low IQ and naive outlook on life, Tom Hanks is renowned for his sharp intellect, history obsession, and quick wit, presenting a stark contrast to the character he made famous. This role came with significant professional risk. The studio threatened to pull the plug due to budget overruns, forcing Hanks to defer his salary to keep the production floating. A gamble that could have ruined his bankability had the film flopped. Furthermore, following the massive success of the film, Hanks faced the challenge of escaping the shadow of Gump, having to work diligently to avoid being typecast purely in wholesome everyman roles by pivotally choosing darker, more complex characters in films like Road to Perdition. Tom Hanks remains one of the most respected and beloved figures in Hollywood, maintaining a long and happy marriage with actress Rita Wilson. He has expanded his repertoire to include writing, having published a novel, and continues to produce major historical projects through his company, Playtone. As of 2026, at the age of 70, he is actively involved in the industry, recently experimenting with AI de-aging technology in films and serving as a vocal advocate for veteran support and type 2 diabetes awareness. Robin Wright as Jenny Curran. Born on April 8, 1966, in Dallas, Texas, the actress began her career as a model and soap opera star before transitioning to the big screen. At the age of 27, Wright's portrayal of the troubled and elusive Jenny Curran served as the emotional anchor of Forrest Gump, guiding the audience through 3 decades of American counterculture history. Her performance earned her a Golden Globe nomination and solidified the character as a tragic yet beloved cultural figure, effectively immortalizing the line, "Run, Forrest, run!" While Jenny Curran was a wandering soul defined by trauma, drug addiction, and dependency, Robin Wright is known in reality for her fierce independence, stoicism, and command. This contrast often made the public's perception of her difficult to navigate. She famously rejected the it girl status the movie offered, turning down major blockbuster roles such as the female lead in Batman Forever, because she refused to be typecast merely as the damsel or arm candy. Her career faced a quiet struggle as she prioritized raising her children over Hollywood momentum, leading to periods where industry insiders believed she had walked away from stardom entirely, battling the limitation of being seen solely through the lens of her high-profile marriage to Sean Penn, rather than as a standalone artist. Robin Wright eventually shattered her fragile typecasting with a career-defining resurgence as the icy and powerful Claire Underwood in the hit series House of Cards, a role that earned her a Golden Globe and multiple Emmy nominations. She successfully transitioned into directing helming episodes of the series and her own feature film, Land, while taking on action-heavy roles in the DC universe as General Antiope. As of 2026, at the age of 60, she remains an active force in Hollywood, as both a director and actress, continuing to oversee her ethical sleepwear company, Pour les Femmes, and maintaining a career longevity that far exceeds the tragic trajectory of her most famous early character. Haley Joel Osment as Forrest Gump Jr. Born on April 10, 1988, the Los Angeles native began his acting career in commercials before landing his first feature film role. At the age of 5, Osment's portrayal of Forrest Gump Jr. served as the emotional anchor for the film's conclusion, delivering a tender and intelligent performance that established the legacy of the titular character. Despite his limited screen time, his touching chemistry with Tom Hanks provided a poignant finale to a movie that became a global cultural phenomenon and a Best Picture winner. While the character of Forrest Jr. was the epitome of innocent brilliance, Osment's real-life trajectory thrust him into a level of fame and scrutiny that few children experience. Unlike the simple, quiet life of his character, Osment became known for a precocious intensity and emotional depth that garnered him an Academy Award nomination shortly after. However, his transition from a child prodigy to an adult actor was fraught with professional hurdles. He struggled against severe typecasting following The Sixth Sense, and faced a difficult period in the mid-2000s, which included a hiatus from Hollywood to attend college and a widely publicized car accident and DUI charge in 2006. For years, he faced the industry challenge of physical maturation, finding it difficult to secure roles as he grew out of the cute kid image that defined his early career. Haley Joel Osment eventually carved out a successful niche as a versatile character actor and prolific voice artist, most famously voicing Sora in the Kingdom Hearts video game franchise for over 2 decades. He embraced offbeat comedic and villainous roles in projects like Silicon Valley, The Boys, and What We Do in the Shadows, effectively shedding his past image. As of 2026, at the age of 38, he is a steady and respected presence in the entertainment industry, continuing to work consistently in both film and television, while maintaining a reputation for the varied and complex performances that eluded him during his transition years. Gary Sinise as Lieutenant Dan Taylor. Born on March 17, 1955 in Blue Island, Illinois, the skilled stage and screen actor delivered a career-defining performance in Forrest Gump. At the age of 38, Sinise's portrayal of the bitter destiny-obsessed platoon leader who loses his legs in Vietnam became a cinematic masterpiece of physical and emotional transformation. The role earned him an Academy Award nomination and established a profound connection with the real-world military community as his character's journey from angry isolation to making peace with God resonated deeply with veterans and audiences alike. While Lieutenant Dan was initially defined by rage cynicism and a self-destructive spiral, Gary Sinise is known in reality as a deeply devout, soft-spoken, and optimistic humanitarian. This stark personality contrast required Sinise to tap into a darkness that was foreign to his nature. Professionally, he faced the unique challenge of the character overshadowing his extensive body of work. For years, he was recognized on the street almost exclusively as Lieutenant Dan, making it difficult for audiences to see him as anyone else. He also navigated the volatile nature of the industry later in his career, experiencing the disappointment of show cancellations such as the abrupt end of Criminal Minds Beyond Borders after just 2 seasons, which left him searching for his next step in a changing television landscape. Gary Sinise eventually stepped back from Hollywood to dedicate his life to philanthropy, moving his family and his nonprofit headquarters to Nashville, Tennessee. As of 2026, at the age of 71, he is largely retired from acting, focusing entirely on the Gary Sinise Foundation to support veterans and first responders. His later years have been marked by significant personal heartbreak. He faced the devastation of losing his son, McKenna "Mac" Sinise, who passed away in early 2024 after a long battle with a rare form of cancer. Despite this tragedy, Sinise continues to tour with the Lieutenant Dan Band, honoring his son's memory and his character's legacy by performing for troops and raising funds for wounded defenders. Michael Connor Humphreys as young Forrest Gump. Born on March 1, 1985 in Independence, Mississippi, the youngster was discovered during an open casting call in Memphis, chosen for his authentic look and sound. At the age of 8, Humphreys' portrayal of the sweet-natured leg-brace-wearing boy provided the emotional foundation for the entire film. His deep, distinctive Southern drawl was not acting, but his natural speaking voice, a trait so unique that Tom Hanks famously modeled the adult character's iconic accent and speech patterns directly after him.
I'm nothing at all, thank you. My legs are just fine and dandy.
His performance was critical to the film's massive success, grounding the character in a reality that resonated with audiences and setting the stage for one of cinema's most beloved figures. While the character of Forrest Gump was defined by his innocence and accidental brush with history, Humphreys was a grounded and perceptive child who found the sudden Hollywood attention to be overwhelming. Unlike many child actors who chase the spotlight, his struggle involved the pressure to remain in an industry he didn't feel at home in. He found the environment artificial and opted to walk away from potential stardom, turning down major opportunities, including a role in the Brady Bunch movie. He chose to return to a regular life in Mississippi, facing the challenge of reintegrating into a normal childhood where he was often viewed through the lens of his famous character rather than as himself. Michael Connor Humphreys eventually mirrored his on-screen persona's life by dedicating himself to military service. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in 2004, serving a 4-year tenure that included an 18-month tour of duty in Iraq, a decision he later attributed to the values he saw on the set of the movie. After his service, he attended the University of North Alabama to study international relations. As of 2026, at the age of 41, he lives a relatively quiet and private life, away from the entertainment epicenter, though he has made very rare appearances in independent films and occasionally attends charity events connected to the film's enduring legacy. Sally Field as Mrs. Gump. Born on November 6, 1946 in Pasadena, California, the veteran actress brought a profound warmth and resilience to the screen in the 1994 blockbuster Forrest Gump. At the age of 46, Field's portrayal of the devoted mother who would do anything for her son became the film's emotional anchor, delivering the immortal line, "Life is like a box of chocolates." Her performance provided the moral compass for the story, grounding the whimsical narrative in a fierce, unconditional maternal love that resonated with audiences worldwide and solidified her status as dramatic royalty. While Mrs. Gump was a figure of simple rural stoicism, Sally Field herself is a highly intellectual method actor and vocal political activist, a contrast to the quiet resignation of her character. Her career path was paved with significant professional battles. She fought for years to shed the perky image forced upon her by her early sitcom, The Flying Nun, a role she loathed and which led to a period where she struggled to be taken seriously by the industry. Even obtaining the role of Mrs. Gump highlighted a harsh Hollywood reality. She was only 10 years older than her on-screen son Tom Hanks, underscoring the difficult standards and typecasting aging actresses face regarding available roles. Sally Field has remained a powerhouse in the entertainment industry, transitioning gracefully into matriarchal and character-driven roles in film, television, and theater. She garnered critical acclaim for her role in Lincoln and returned to the stage, earning a Tony nomination for The Glass Menagerie. As of 2026, at the age of 79, she is an active and revered figure in Hollywood, recently celebrated for her work in projects like 80 for Brady and honored with the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award. A dedicated mother and grandmother, she continues to advocate for women's rights and public health issues, enjoying a legacy defined by her refusal to settle for what the industry dictated she should be. Mykelti Williamson as Benjamin Buford. Bubba Blue. Born on March 4, 1957 in St. Louis, Missouri, Williamson had been a working actor since the late 1970s before securing his most famous role. At the age of 36, he transformed his appearance to play the sweet-natured, shrimp-obsessed soldier in Forrest Gump. His portrayal served as the emotional heartbeat of the film's first act, and his rhythmic recitation of the various ways to prepare shrimp became a massive cultural phenomenon, turning Bubba Blue into a cinematic icon of loyalty and innocence. However, the authenticity of his performance created a unique and frustrating professional hurdle. The prosthetic lip he wore for the character was so convincing that casting directors and producers widely believed it was his actual facial structure. This led to a difficult period where Williamson struggled to find work because the industry assumed he was weird-looking or actually possessed the character's speech patterns. He found himself fighting against a bizarre form of typecasting where he had to go on talk shows and aggressive audition circuits simply to prove he was an articulate, handsome leading man who looked nothing like the character he had made famous. Overcoming those early misconceptions, Williamson carved out a formidable career, playing intense, authoritative figures in films like Heat and Con Air, and later earning critical acclaim for his role in the film adaptation of August Wilson's Fences. As of 2026, at the age of 69, he is an active and highly respected veteran in Hollywood, appearing in recurring roles on major television dramas such as Chicago PD and Law and Order Organized Crime. He resides in Los Angeles with his wife, Sandra Spriggs, having successfully transitioned from a recognized character into a versatile industry staple. Hannah R. Hall as young Jenny Curran. Born on July 9, 1984 in Denver, Colorado, the young actress made her big-screen debut in what would become one of the most beloved films of the 20th century. At the age of 9, Hall took on the role of young Jenny Curran, the childhood friend and love interest of the titular character. Her performance was instrumental in establishing the emotional core of the film, and she is responsible for delivering one of the most quoted lines in cinema history.
Run, Forrest, run!
Her portrayal captured a heartbreaking innocence that resonated with audiences worldwide, anchoring the film's narrative before the story transitioned to the adult actors. While the character of Jenny Curran was defined by a tragic, abusive upbringing and a life of flight from her past, Hannah R. Hall's reality was far removed from that despair, characterized instead by a passion for the craft of acting. However, the massive success of her debut created a specific professional hurdle. She faced the difficult challenge of breaking away from the shadow of being the Run Forrest, Run girl. As she transitioned from child star to adult actress, she often found herself typecast in dark, tragic, or gothic roles, most notably as Cecilia Lisbon in The Virgin Suicides and Judith Myers in the Halloween remake. Like many child actors, she had to navigate the dead zone, where roles dry up for performers who are no longer children, but not yet established adults, leading her to pursue formal training at the Vancouver Film School to gain more agency over her career. Hannah R. Hall has successfully remained in the industry by diversifying her skill set beyond just acting in front of the camera. As of 2026, at the age of 42, she is active in the entertainment world not only as a performer, but also as a prominent intimacy coordinator. In this role, she advocates for actor safety and choreographs simulated intimacy for film and television, a career pivot that allows her to protect young actors in ways the industry failed to do in the past. She continues to reside in California, balancing her work in underground theater directing with her technical role on major production sets, having successfully forged a long-term path in Hollywood on her own terms. Siobhan Fallon Hogan as Dorothy Harris. Born on May 13, 1961 in Syracuse, New York, the distinctively voiced actress took on a small but unforgettable role in Robert Zemeckis' masterpiece. At the age of 32, Hogan's portrayal of Dorothy Harris, the cigarette-smoking, no-nonsense school bus driver, became a cult favorite element of the film. Her deadpan delivery of lines like "seats taken" and her visual evolution from the beginning of the movie to the end provided a grounding realism to the whimsical narrative. Despite her limited screen time, her performance served as a crucial bookend to Forrest's journey, solidifying her face as recognizable to audiences worldwide. In stark contrast to the grumpy, hardened bus driver she played, Siobhan Fallon, Hogan is known in real life as a warm, bubbly personality and a devout Catholic who prioritizes her faith and family above Hollywood glitz. Her professional journey faced early turbulence. Prior to her film success, she was a cast member on Saturday Night Live for the 1991 to 1992 season. Her time there was short-lived and stressful. She was let go after just one season, a common but stinging professional hurdle in the competitive world of sketch comedy. Following this, she often struggled with being typecast as the quirky secretary, the eccentric neighbor, or the uptight Midwesterner, making it difficult for casting directors to see her potential as a dramatic lead. Siobhan Fallon, Hogan, persevered through the industry's limitations by eventually taking control of her own career, shifting from a character actress for hire to a screenwriter and producer. She has been married to commodities trader Peter Hogan since the early 90s, and they raised 3 children in Rumson, New Jersey, far removed from the Los Angeles scene. As of 2026, at the age of 65, she is enjoying a career renaissance of her own making, starring in independent films she wrote such as Rushed and Shelter in Solitude. By collaborating with her family on these projects, she successfully broke out of the supporting roles she was once confined to, creating a legacy defined by creative independence and resilience. Sonny Shroyer as Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Born on August 28, 1935 in Valdosta, Georgia, the actor brought a football legend to life on the big screen in the 1994 classic Forrest Gump. At the age of 58, Shroyer's portrayal of the University of Alabama's iconic coach Paul Bear Bryant was brief but memorable, capturing the gritty authority and presence of the man in the famous houndstooth hat. His performance anchored a pivotal sequence in the film, grounding the fantastical narrative in real sports history and contributing to a movie that became a massive cultural phenomenon and Best Picture winner. In reality, Sonny Shroyer is known for being a gentle, soft-spoken, and devoutly religious man, a sharp contrast to the gruff and intimidating demeanor of the legendary coach he mimicked. His career was significantly impacted by the double-edged sword of his most famous role as Deputy Enos Strait on The Dukes of Hazzard. While it made him a star, it led to severe typecasting that made it difficult for casting directors to see him as anything other than a naive country bumpkin. He faced a major professional setback when his spin-off series Enos was canceled after only one season, 1980 to 1981, a failure that stalled his momentum and forced him to return to the parent show, struggling for years afterward to break free from the deputy's shadow to find serious work. Sonny Shroyer has spent his later years embracing his legacy while continuing to act in independent films and appearing at fan conventions. He transitioned into a respected character actor, often utilized for his authentic Southern voice in films like The Rainmaker and Ray. As of 2026, at the age of 90, he is living in Georgia, still occasionally active in the industry, and beloved by a generation of fans, having successfully outlasted the typecasting that once threatened to end his career. Geoffrey Blake as Wesley. Born on August 20, 1962 in Baltimore, Maryland, the versatile character actor stepped into the shoes of the abusive SDS leader Wesley in the 1994 phenomenon Forrest Gump. At the age of 31, Blake's portrayal provided a sharp, villainous counterpoint to the film's innocence, serving as the catalyst for one of the movie's most satisfying moments, Forrest pummeling him for hurting Jenny. While his screen time was relatively brief, his performance was impactful enough to cement him in cinema history as the face of the toxic counterculture element, contributing to a film that swept the Academy Awards and captivated global audiences. In reality, Geoffrey Blake is known for being a gregarious, friendly, and dedicated professional. A stark contrast to the sleazy and abusive antagonist he played in Forrest Gump. This disparity highlights a recurring professional hurdle he faced: the struggle of being typecast as the heavy or the unlikable weasel. Despite his close off-screen friendship with Tom Hanks and his status as a recurring favorite of director Robert Zemeckis, Blake often had to fight against the industry's tendency to pigeonhole him into antagonistic supporting roles. His career has been defined by the grind of the working-class actor, constantly auditioning and striving for visibility in a landscape that often recognizes his face but forgets his name, a challenge that persists even after appearing in multiple Best Picture winners. Geoffrey Blake has maintained a steady presence in Hollywood, leveraging his reliability to secure roles in projects ranging from Castaway to television dramas like Manhunt. He has remained active in the industry well into his later years, often participating in reunions and retrospectives regarding his iconic 90s roles. As of 2026, at the age of 64, he is alive and continues to work in film and television, balancing his career with a private life in Los Angeles, having successfully transitioned from a go-to villain to a respected veteran character actor. Bob Penny as Crony. Born on June 29, 1935 in Anniston, Alabama, the academic-turned-actor brought a distinctive Southern authenticity to the screen. At the age of 58, Penny took on the role of a crony in the blockbuster hit Forrest Gump, appearing as one of the local barbershop regulars who witness young Forrest's journey. While the role was a minor supporting part, the film itself became a colossal cultural phenomenon, winning Best Picture and cementing every face on screen into cinematic history. Penny's presence contributed to the rich atmospheric texture of the fictional Greenbow, Alabama, helping to ground the fantastical story in a believable rural reality. Despite playing a simple local townie on screen, Bob Penny was a man of profound intellect and academia, serving as a distinct contrast to the unpretentious rural characters he often portrayed. In reality, he was a distinguished professor of English and poetry at the University of Alabama at Birmingham for over 3 decades, described by colleagues and students as deeply literate and refined. His acting career was marked by the specific struggle of regional typecasting. Because of his thick accent and look, he was almost exclusively offered roles as Southern authority figures, judges, or cronies, making it difficult for him to break out of that specific mold. Additionally, for much of his life, he had to balance the rigid demands of university tenure with the unpredictable schedules of film production, a professional juggling act that often limited his availability for work. Bob Penny continued to act well into his later years, utilizing his retirement from teaching in 1990 to focus fully on his passion for performance. He amassed over 30 credits, appearing in other high-profile Southern set projects like Sweet Home Alabama and My Cousin Vinny, while remaining a beloved figure in the Birmingham theater community and an accomplished poet. Bob Penny passed away in Huntsville, Alabama, on December 25, 2022, at the age of 87, following a period of declining health. His death on Christmas Day was mourned by both the academic and arts communities in Alabama, marking the end of a unique life that successfully bridged the gap between the university lecture hall and the Hollywood screen. Watching the cast of Forrest Gump age is like looking through a family album of our own cinematic history. They gave life to characters that taught us about love loss and destiny. As we look at them now, we see the legacy of a masterpiece that never fades. If this trip down memory lane moved you, please subscribe to our channel for more nostalgic reunions and hit that notification bell for our latest updates.